watching Education in Our Community. I am your host, Denise Smith, and I am so grateful to be here with you today. If you have the deep determination to succeed, you will not fail. So continue to dare to dream with me today regarding real estate. And today, our topic is something that is so controversial. We're talking about gentrification. Now, a lot of people do not know what gentrification means, so I'm going to first give a description of gentrification. It may mean different things to different people, but what the true meaning of gentrification is a process of changing the character of a neighborhood through an influx of affluent residents and businesses. Gentrification often increases the economic value of a neighborhood, but can force out low-income residents due to increased cost of rents and higher cost of goods. Now, what does gentrification really mean? Really? Well, to the people that are low income, it could be very scary because it pushes out the low-income residents. So when it pushes out the low-income residents, that means that the higher-income people will come in and they will change the neighborhoods. They will come in and improve the houses and improve the neighborhoods. When people run out of money and they no longer can fix up their homes, that's poverty. It is poverty. But guess what? Guess what happens when we're in the poverty-stricken state? We can't fix up our homes because maybe our parents left the house to us. So that reminds me to tell you that it's important that if you own real estate, please seek legal advice so that you can get a trust or an estate so you can make sure that that real estate is transferred to your children or your offsprings. This is very important. Now, what is the actual definition to the people that take advantage of gentrification? The people that take advantage of gentrification are higher income people that come in our neighborhoods and fix up the properties, and then they tell you you could move back in, but you're not able to move back in because you no longer could afford to live there. When people with money come in our neighborhoods and start fixing up the neighborhood, the suffix really is they want to take away something. So they're taking away for the people that live there. Now, they say that the low-income people can no longer afford to live there, so the upper-class people come in and fix up the properties. In fixing up the properties, that means that we, as low-income, can no longer afford to live there. Now, they say the positive to gentrification is lower crime rate. That might be a matter of opinion, but more homeowners and businesses will pay taxes, and the amount of property taxes each pays will rise as property value increases. What does that mean? What that means is that when your property value increases and you are to sell your property based on today's marketplace, generally property taxes are based on a percentage of what that property sells for. So what does that mean? That means that if you sold your property for $1 million, a percentage of that is going to go towards property taxes. If you sell your property for $100,000, the percentage of that will go towards property taxes. How did gentrification begin? Well, it actually began before I was even born. It began in 1964. And in 1964, Ruth Glass coined it as once it's a process of gentrification starts in a district and it goes on rapidly until almost of the working class people no longer can occupy those properties. They no longer can afford to live there and work in that same city. because the cost of living for what they get paid, even if it's on a certain amount, they cannot afford to pay rent to live there, and they can't afford to pay their house notes. So gentrification displaces low income people. It displaces people that currently occupy those properties. It's very, very nerve-wracking to someone like me that has been in the business for 30 years. Now, granted, I started when I was a teenager, but the thing is that I'll look at properties where I lived. I'm from San Francisco, Hunters Point, Bayview, San Francisco. That's where I'm from. How they gentrified San Francisco. A lot of people may have been familiar with the Fillmore district. We used to call it the Fillmo. See, most of the people that lived in that area were African American people. So what happened? They could no longer afford there. Now they call it Lower Pacific Heights because, you see, the African American people. I can even speak about Marcus Bookstores that was there for 100 years, was no longer able to be there. They were displaced. I think it's a travesty. I think it's awful that that would have to take place. But you know, when we're talking about gentrification, it's real. Gentrification is displacing a lot of people that have lived there for many, many years. So I watched Fillmo, as we used to call it. Now that's the Ebonics. Now we call it the Fillmore, and we call it Western Addition. They don't even want to be called Fillmore anymore. They want to be called Western Addition, Lower Pacific Heights. But when the African Americans lived there and they had projects there and all of that, it was the Fillmore. It's a different place now. I'm only speaking of San Francisco because that's where I'm from. I saw gentrification happen. So I asked my mother, what does gentrification mean to you, Mom? And she said, oh, gentrification means that the poor people are moved out and the rich people move in. That's what gentrification means. I said, is that right? She said, yes. Then she went on to tell me how she read in the newspaper that in the South, that the people that lived there for hundreds and hundreds of years homesteaded those properties where people of certain class, upper class, came in and said that you don't have any papers or rights to this property. Therefore, you no longer could own this property. What does that mean? That means that we didn't have the education that we should have stood up and said, no, we need to get attorneys. We need to get attorneys and people that will represent us so they don't take away our properties. So I asked my mother, which my mother, of course, lived through all of this. She said to me, well, I said, Mom, this is not still happening. She said, I just read it in the newspaper that that's what's happening in the South right now. She reads the paper cover to cover. So I believe what she's telling me. I believe she's not fibbing. Why would she fib? She said this is happening in the South right now. Well, guess what? It's also happening in the Bay Areas that we live in. So guess what? It is creating a homelessness problem. Okay, we went from gentrification to homelessness. Homelessness is a national problem. And we need to address this, because if we do not address it, what we're going to find is that the percentage of homelessness, we are going to be the minorities owning homes, and the homeless population is going to be the majority. The saddest piece about this is that when you are homeless and you get displaced, and when you get displaced, you have nowhere to live. That's why there's a lot of people in cars right now living in cars, because they no longer could afford to live in their homes. This is a travesty, people. This is something that is unheard of, and we need to do something about it. We need to, the young people say stay woke. We got to stay woke on this situation, because it is a major, major issue. Not one that I want to alarm you with. I just want you to be aware of that gentrification is real. So what are the positive and the negatives of gentrification? Tell me, what are the positives and the negatives? Usually, it leads to negative impacts such as forced displacement, which we talked about, a fostering of discriminatory behavior that is displacing the people in poverty, in lower incomes. Now, they say that lower incomes, there's people that live at below the poverty line, and below the poverty line is under $20,000 a year. Now, the most people that make that kind of money cannot afford to live here in the Bay Area. Now, I'm speaking in the Bay Area. Now, we could go further up where they've moved a lot of people. They've moved them to Stockton, and they've moved them to Antioch and Pittsburgh and Oakley, and they moved them all out. Why? Because they couldn't afford to live in the Bay Area any longer. We need to stay woke, people. We need to stay woke because this is a serious situation that really should be addressed. Now, does gentrification harm the poor? That came by email. A question: does gentrification harm the poor? Now, we know that it displaces the poor, and we know it displaces people of color. And we also know that the well-off people, Caucasians, they're also getting displaced. Actually, there's a lot of poor people that are also Caucasian. Yes, so it's affecting everyone. But they're now calling it, they don't want to call it gentrification. They want to call it the new urban life. Gentrification is this sort actually exceedingly rare. The social economic status of most neighborhoods is strikingly stable over time. That was written in a newspaper article in January 2015. I'd like to go back to 2008. In 2008, I was the president of the Oakland Association of Realtors. 2008 was the most alarming crash in real estate in history. We had over 1 million houses that were foreclosed on. Over 1 million houses that were foreclosed on. People can't live here. This is breaking my heart. In 2008, this is what took place. I have friends, I have family members that were foreclosed on. It's really alarming to see something like this happening in our world. I realize that foreclosure was the F word. I realize I never really even liked talking about foreclosures, but gentrification is causing foreclosure. It really is. What is the point of gentrification? I just need to answer the question. What is the point of gentrification? What you will be told is gentrification is a general term for the arrival of wealthier people in an existing urban district. A related increase in rents and property values and changes in the district's character and culture. The displacement of poor communities by rich outsiders. So what's happening is rich outsiders, wealthier people from the outside that never wanted to be in those areas, those poverty areas, are now moving to those areas to fix them up because the government is giving them dollars and incentives for them to do that. Why can't they give incentives and dollars to the people that are suffering, that are losing their houses? But yet and still, they give incentives and dollars to wealthier people to be able to fix up and help those neighborhoods. Why don't you help the poor people in the neighborhoods? That's what I think we need to do. Why don't we work on the homelessness going on and help those people? I think a lot of people might be upset about what I'm saying today, but I'm in the position right now where I have to speak the truth. Because you see, the truth will set me free. I am free now, good people. I'm free. I don't have to bow down and speak what you want me to speak. I'm so sorry. I'm speaking the truth that I know that I've lived for the last 30 years of me being in the real estate market. Yes, I started in real estate financing in 1979. Yes, I was a kid But I started because I wanted to start working young, because I wanted to buy a trailer home for my grandmother. That's what she wanted. She wanted a trailer home so she could drive around the world. Well, guess what? The reality is that by the time I was able to buy her a trailer home, I was 29 years old. By that time, she had to go to heaven. She had to leave me. Sad, very sad. But I know the poverty that she went through. I saw her fixing and cleaning up people's homes. I saw her cleaning up Caucasian people's homes. I always said, I don't want to be a maid, not even my own. And you know why? I didn't like the way they talked to her. I didn't like the way they treated her. I didn't even like the way they even addressed her. And I would ask her, why do you let them speak to you like that? And she'd say, be quiet. Go sit down and let God talk to you. That's what she would tell me. Let God talk to you. Because if you keep talking, you will never let God into your life, and you'll never hear what he has to say. So now I know that the fact that people that clean up houses, they have the job that is the best job. Because you see, they know how to take care of their homes. You see, they have a skill that they learned, that they have taken on and taking over and taking care of other people's children and other people's homes. Since I want to talk about what really are the pros of gentrification, and can a person be gentrified? Nobody can be gentrified. They can be affected. The person could be affected by gentrification. But that's really a person could be. What are the pros of gentrification? Let's talk about that. While gentrification can be a benefit for some, and I mean some, an area by decreasing crime, improving the economy, and increasing property values and taxes, it can have the negative consequences of pricing out former residents, changing the culture of the community, and causing resentment. It's been a known fact that gentrification can cause disease, can cause mental health issues, it can cause depression, it can cause babies being born with defects. It's really something what this gentrification is doing to our communities, but it's real. It's real. When the gentrification is used, and they coined it in 1964, a lot of people say it's a negative term. They want to call it the new urban. We're going to do a new urban society. Well, then I moved to Oakland. I love Oakland, as I love San Francisco. I left my heart in San Francisco. But then I moved to the East Bay, Oakland. I started buying in Foster City, San Mateo, and San Francisco. I started buying real estate out there. And then I moved to Oakland. My grandmother said, bad people live in Oakland, don't move to Oakland. But guess what? That was totally untrue. Beautiful people live in Oakland. And do you know what? Crime in Hunters Point Bayview was far worse than the crime in Oakland. I invested in Oakland and made very good strides in Oakland, made some very good investments in Oakland. Oakland is a hidden area, but you see, it's no longer hidden because gentrification, the wealthier people are coming into Oakland and buying in areas that nobody wants. Now, I bought in 1985 in areas that nobody wanted, and that worked out wonderfully for me. But guess what? Those tenants started getting displaced. Those tenants started losing their jobs, couldn't pay their rent, even to this day, having those issues. So I believe in Oakland, I believe in San Francisco, and I believe in any area that you could afford to purchase real estate in, because now is your time to purchase real estate. When I was in 1979 and I started in real estate financing, the rates were 18, 19%. I got laid off 5 times in a 12-month period. You see, because when the rates would go up, the business would be bad. I was in financing, and then they would lay you off. That's what happened. So ultimately, what I did is I decided to get a real estate license because I got laid off so many times. So then that's when I got a real estate license in 1990, and I started selling real estate. I am so very thankful that real estate will secure your financial futures. Now, I think it's important that gentrification is not going to be the tell-all to everyone. You see, because you could still buy property that you could afford in any area that you want. The rule, though, in buying real estate is buy in the best location for the lowest price house in the best location. It might not be the best location, and it might have, because in every city, you're going to go and get your crime report. And in every city, that crime is so high. Every inner city has high crime, a lot of crime. And you'll end up saying, oh, I don't want to buy there because of the crime. Well, guess what? Anything in the inner area, Bay Area, is going to have high crime. I always say check the crime, check the walking, they have a walking report, but check it out. Because you still can buy real estate. You're still able to purchase real estate. I don't want gentrification to be the reason why you say, I'm not going to buy real estate. Because you still have an opportunity. You can call me anytime. I'll help anyone to buy real estate. But I'll also give them information, as I always have, and I always will. For the last 30 years, I have been giving real estate, fortunately, on television, on the videos. I give free seminars on how to buy a home. I help people to buy and sell their homes. I have clientele. I may have sold 12 houses in one family. Those are repeat customers that I absolutely love. I love their families. But not only that, I want to give out good information. I want to give out information that will help you. Not information that just says, oh, you should buy this house. Because you may not, I may say to you, maybe you shouldn't buy that house. And if I say that to you, that must mean that you may not want to buy that house. It may be because of the condition of the house. It won't be because of the neighborhood. You see, because every neighborhood has their own issues. Secure your financial futures. Buy real estate. Find what area that's affordable for you. Do not let someone say, you can't afford to buy a house. I've helped thousands of people that the mother told me, will you please quit bothering my daughter? I told you she cannot buy a house. Well, when she bought a house, she was just as shocked. But guess what? There's a lot of no's in this world, but we got to find the one yes. And the one yes is first get pre-qualified. First get out there and find a bank that will pre-qualify. You need help, I'll help you. I do loans, I do sales, but I help the people when they need to be helped. Gentrification is just one issue, but I do know that there's a lot of issues. How does gentrification affect homeowners? Again, I have to repeat it. Gentrification directly displaces renters, but homeowners do face heightened displacement risks. According to the study by Isaac Williams Martin and Kevin Beck, displacement rates of homeowners in gentrifying areas are also unaffected by state laws limit property tax increase. So there are no real laws that is going to help us here. All I can really tell you is get your little piece of heaven. Get your little piece of the rock. I don't care. I started off with the first piece of real estate that I bought was 500 square feet. The bathroom was here, the bedroom was there, and the kitchen was over there. I had sold that property in 9 months and made $100,000. Real estate is the best way to secure your financial futures. I really believe that everyone should be able to buy real estate. Everyone should be able to buy real estate. First, get yourself pre-qualified. Find a real estate agent that you want to work with, that understands your needs. Call me if you need me. I wrote a book. It's called From Rags to Real Estate, and I love real estate. I bought all the way up to 120 units. I'm so forever grateful. But guess what? So many expenses when the tenants can't pay the rent. Be careful. Beware. Beware. I can honestly say that I am a good real estate broker, but I'm only as good as you allow me to help you. Sometimes you might say, I do not want to buy that house because it's too small. But guess what? That too small house would lead to a better house later or a bigger house later. But if you always keep waiting for that house to be the perfect house for you, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Nothing's perfect the first time around. You got to do the first, second, third. And as you buy property, you will increase your chances of a better home. Even if you decided to rent that house out, you will still be able to secure your financial future. So I thank you so much, so very much, for first of all, believing in yourself, because you see, I believe in you. Oopsie, I believe in you. I believe in you. You need to believe in yourself now. Buy real estate. It's the best thing going to secure your financial futures. And I really believe that you're able to do it. So my motto is dare to dream. My grandma gave me that motto. If you dare to dream it, you can have it. And I believe that you can have it. If I can do it, you can do it too. And know that I'm not just telling you this. There's so many people that have bought real estate. If you wanted to get any references from me, any references at all, I will be happy to give you references. If you have any questions at all, you may email me, denisesmith98@gmail.com. You may call me at 510-482-8200, and I will help you. I will help you to secure your financial futures. So I'm going to need to leave you, but gentrification is real. So take advantage of purchasing real estate, and I will lead you, and lead you to purchase real estate. If you really want to do this and you really believe it's in your heart to do it, I believe in you. I believe in you. I thank you so much for this opportunity to watch me. I appreciate the fact that you care enough to want to buy real estate. I appreciate the fact that not only that you're dreaming of real estate, but it's not a pie in the sky. This is a reality. You can actually own real estate. So don't let anyone, a relative or anyone, tell you differently. I just want to lead you to purchasing real estate. So I'm going to leave you with this. If you have the deep determination to succeed, you will not fail. Continue to dare to dream with me in real estate. It's the best thing you can do for your life. The best thing you can do for your life. Continue to dare to dream with me, because I believe that you could have what you desire. I believe that if you dream it, if you think it, you may have it. So dare to dream and continue to dare to dream with me. I'll see you next time.